Your customers are irrational. Your employees are irrational. Your board is irrational. And you, the operator who thinks you're making cold, calculated decisions based on data and logic, you are the most irrational of all. The most dangerous person in your organization isn't the one making bad decisions, it's the one making bad decisions while convinced that they're being rational. And Dan Ariely just proved it with a decade of experiments that you cannot argue with. Hello, my name is Todd Hagopian, the original Stagnation Assassin and the author of this book, The Unfair Advantage Weaponizing the Hypomanic Toolbox. But today, we are doing a Stagnation Assassin book review of Predictably Irrational by Dan Ariely. So, get ready for a hard hitting, bold, relentless review of one of the most mind bending behavioral economic books ever written, and whether understanding your own irrationality can actually help you kill stagnation. Dan Ariely is a Duke professor of behavioral economics who spent years running clever, often hilarious experiments proving that human beings make the same irrational mistakes over and over and over, not randomly, but systematically, predictably. This book, a New York Times bestseller, lays out the hidden forces shaping every decision in your company, from how you price products to how you motivate your teams to how you evaluate investments. If you've ever wondered why smart people keep making stupid decisions, Ariely has the forensic evidence. So let's get into the meat. What does this book get right? Let's start with the concept that should be tattooed on the forehead of every pricing manager in America: anchoring and arbitrary coherence. Ariely demonstrates that the first price we encounter for any product becomes an anchor that distorts every subsequent valuation. The initial number is often arbitrary, completely detached from actual value, and yet it shapes all future decisions. Your pricing strategy might be built on an anchor that someone set 20 years ago that had nothing to do with value, and you've been coherently building on a foundation of fiction ever since. The chapter on the power of free is devastating for operators. Ariely showed that the difference between 1 cent and 0 cents is not the 1 cent, it's a psychological canyon. People will abandon better deals to grab something that's free. They'll waste time, choose inferior products, and make catastrophically poor decisions, all because their brains short circuit to the price of zero. When I've seen companies offer free trials, free add ons, free shipping, and the customer response often defies logic. Ariely explains why. And once you see the mechanism, you can weaponize it or you can defend against it. The social norms versus market norms distinction is a framework that every leader needs as well. Ariely proves that the moment you introduce money into a social relationship, you destroy the social contract. People who will move a couch for a friend for free will refuse to do it for $5. This has massive implications for how you structure incentives, bonuses, and employee management programs. The fastest way to kill employee loyalty is to treat a relationship built on purpose like a transaction built on price. Ariely proved it, and most companies are doing it wrong every single day. The experiments on expectations and placebos are equally lethal. Ariely shows that the expensive pain medication works better than cheap pain medication, even when they're identical. Sorry, people think that it does. Expectations, literally and reality. For operators, this means that your brand perception, your pricing signals, your packaging, they're not just marketing fluff. They're performance variables that change how your product actually functions in the customer's mind. That's not irrationality, that's weaponized psychology. So let's look at the murder board. What does this book get wrong? First, this is a brilliant academic book that's wearing an operator's coat that it probably didn't earn. Ariely is a researcher, not a turnaround specialist. The experiments are fascinating, the insights are sharp, but the tactical application to running a business is left almost entirely to the reader. He shows you the cognitive biases. He doesn't hand you the playbook for rewiring your organization around them. Ariely diagnoses the disease with surgical precision, but when you ask for the treatment plan, he shrugs and says, "Isn't that interesting?" Interesting doesn't fix your P&L, so it's not that helpful on that note. Second, this book is overwhelmingly consumer focused. Nearly every experiment deals with individual purchasing decisions, chocolates and beer and magazines. There's very little on organizational decision making, strategic planning, or operational execution. If you're a CMO, this book is a goldmine. If you're a COO trying to transform a $1 billion division, you'll need to do significant translation to extract operational value from this book. Third, and this is a recurring problem in behavioral economics, the experiments are controlled environments. Labs, college students, artificial choice architectures, the messiness of real business where decisions are made under time, pressure, political constraints, incomplete information, and competing stakeholders doesn't map nearly to a chocolate experiment at MIT. The principles transfer, but the gap between the lab and the boardroom is wider than Ariely acknowledges. Stagnation verdict, 4 kills out of 5 still. Here's why. Despite the academic framing and the consumer focus, the underlying insights are foundational. If you don't understand price anchoring, the power of free and social versus market norms, and the expectation effect, you are making decisions blind. And blind decisions are stagnation's best friend. This book won't hand you a turnaround playbook, but it will rewire how you think about every decision your company makes: pricing, incentives, culture, and customer experience. It loses the fifth kill because an operator reading this will have to do real work to translate these insights into action, but the book entertains brilliantly, and it just arms you a little incompletely. Still, 4 kills, no question. The frameworks are powerful enough that even partial application will pay significant dividends. That's the Stagnation Assassin verdict on Predictably Irrational, 4 kills. Buy it for the mind expansion, then pair it with operational firepower to turn those insights into results. For the operator's playbook, frameworks built by someone who's actually used behavioral insights to double company valuations, grab the unfair advantage, weaponizing the hypomanic toolbox. Subscribe to the Stagnation Assassin Show. Visit toddhagopian.com for more free articles and the stagnationassassins.com for the largest stagnation database in the world. You think you're rational, your data says you're rational, but your results say that you're predictably, systematically, and expensively irrational. Fix that, or stagnation will keep cashing checks that your biases are writing. Thank you.